How's it going, everyone? It's been a long time since I last uploaded. Hope you all had a good Thanksgiving break if you celebrate Thanksgiving. I recently finished watching the Beatles documentary Get Back, and I have some thoughts on it. This is not really going to be a review because from my perspective, documentaries really are only enjoyable if you have any interest in the subject matter or in the topic. And so I find it weird to criticize something like this when really my enjoyment of it is only on how interested I am on the topic. So for that reason, I'm not going to be reviewing this, and it'll just be more of a reaction and just me giving my thoughts on it, some things I liked and some things I thought maybe could have been improved as well. And I know you're probably thinking isn't that a review though? You say what you like and don't like about it. Well, I'm just going to approach this as more of me just sort of talking about my thoughts on it, not really analyzing it that deeply, but yeah, this will just be my thoughts on it. Let's just get started. The Beatles Get Back is a 3-part television documentary series directed by Peter Jackson. It's about 8 hours in length all in all. It was originally going to be a movie. The release date for the theatrical film was going to be in September of 2020. Of course, though, it got pushed back, as all things did around that time. And so it was then pushed back all the way to Thanksgiving weekend of this year, of 2021. This revolves around the recording sessions that the Beatles went through for their album Let It Be. It was originally going to be called Get Back, though. That's why the title is Get Back. But it would become what was their last ever studio album, Let It Be. I was looking forward to this quite a bit, mainly just because there was a bunch of new footage. Apparently, I think it was 50 to 60 different hours of footage that had been found never before seen of these recording sessions. They're just now deciding to use them for something. I don't really know why it took this long. Maybe because it's around the 50th anniversary, probably. So I was excited to see all this new footage. I was interested to see how Peter Jackson would helm such a project. And for those of you who don't know, these sessions did not have the best reputation really up until this documentary came out. A lot of people said it was the beginning of the end for the band, although I personally would argue it was probably when they stopped touring a few years prior to this. But I mean, that's a whole other argument for another day. I would say all in all, still kind of it being fresh on my mind. I actually did finish it a couple days ago. But all in all, I would say I was definitely satisfied with this. Yes, it is very long. Like I said, it's just about 8 hours in length, the total of the 3 episodes combined. And yeah, I will admit, sometimes I was thinking it didn't need to be that long necessarily. There are certain lulls that occur throughout the series, some moments of just kind of downtime, not really much is going on. And I think that especially if you're not that into the Beatles, you're probably not going to get much out of this or really even enjoy it that much, partially because of how long it is. However, as a Beatles fan, I was still happy nonetheless that we got all of this new footage to look at. Even though, like I said, there are moments where nothing that exciting is happening. It was just so cool to see all this, see how the sessions went down for them. It was just so cool to see a lot of the things that happened in this documentary. That's a word I'll probably use a lot in this video. Just a lot of things that were so cool to actually see happening in action. Like whenever George leaves the band, I had heard that audio before where he's like, I guess I'll leave the band now. When? Now. I had heard that audio before, but I hadn't actually seen it happen. You get to see it when it actually happens. And it's insane. One thing that really surprised me about it that I wasn't expecting at all was that there were no interviews with anyone. There weren't any of those short clips of someone saying something. There wasn't anything with Paul or Ringo or anyone associated with this project. It was pretty much just the straight footage of the sessions. Every so often you would see some text appear, signaling something relating to what was happening in the moments, but it's pretty much just the footage itself that you're getting to see with this HD restoration. And for the most part, it, I think, works very well, with exception to, like I've said, those moments of slight boredom, those lulls that occur. It's able to really maintain, at least it was able to really maintain my attention and stay compelling throughout a lot of it. Apologies, by the way, if this video seems a little bit messy and all over the place. I didn't write anything down. I didn't take any notes. Just thinking off the top of my head, thinking about certain things. So I'm sorry if my thoughts and my things that I want to make note of are a little bit random. And I think that overall the editing for this documentary was very tastefully done, considering how long it is. That does, however, lead me to one other sort of nitpick I want to point out, something I think it could have done better, is that there are several moments where you see someone talking, but the audio doesn't match up with the video. And I don't know how that happened, because most of the time it does match up very well and it is on point. But there are still a number of moments when it doesn't match up. And as someone who does, you know, edit videos, I edit all my videos. In case any of you guys were doubting that, I do edit my videos, okay? I personally couldn't help but be bothered by that whenever that did happen. But getting back to things that I like, staying on track with my praises for this series, it was so interesting to me to see some of the songs they were working on that would appear on Abbey Road, which they recorded after this album. You know, songs like Maxwell's Silver Hammer or Oh Darling, She Came Through the Bathroom Window, even Something. Like, they had all of these songs pretty much ready to record if they wanted to, but they just put them off for another album. I found that to be pretty interesting. To be able to witness what a lot of people would consider to be the greatest band of all time, to be able to witness them at work on an album, recording songs, their general creative process, I thought was just such a nice treat. And it really is unlike any other music documentary I've seen before, or any other documentary relating to a specific album. And it's maybe just because of how simple and to the point it is. This whole documentary is pretty much just them recording, and that's just about it. We're just seeing them go to work at all these different songs, and it works surprisingly well. There were a lot of individual moments in this documentary that really stood out from the crowd that I could think of, but I'll just try to think of a few right here. I mentioned the one about George leaving the bands. That was a very significant moment for sure. I thought also the conversation between Paul and John when they're in this cafeteria, we don't see them though, because they hit a microphone under a plant or something that was like on the table they were at, and you just like see the lines popping up and you hear what they're saying. That was very cool. Also, it felt a little bit weird and felt like I was kind of invading this private moment. But I mean, hey, Paul said it was okay to do that, so if he was okay with it, then I'm okay with it. I love whenever Billy Preston first joined the band and he first started playing on, I think it was Get Back. I don't remember what song like they first started playing together, but I mean, you just see the energy in the room completely change. Everyone seems more energetic, they seem happier, they think like just, it's a whole vibe change whenever he starts playing in and he comes in with the keyboard. A lot of funny moments in the show too, just lots of fun, charming moments, especially with Ringo, who doesn't really talk that much throughout this series, but he had some very memorable moments for me. I love when he's behind the camera and the camera's on Michael Lindsay Hogg, who was the director for the original documentary of this album in 1970. And he has the camera on him and he's pulling this thing under the camera that's like making it go forward and back, and he's just like pulling it over and over again. And it's like all like shaky and distorted. Also, like right towards the end, there's a moment where they're listening back to the recordings of their rooftop performance, and there's this shot of Paul and Linda's hands holding each other, and then you just see like this hand sort of like plop onto them, and it pans over and it's Ringo. Yeah, I feel like I've said pretty much all I need to say at this point, or that I can think of right now. I could probably think of a lot more. I probably will, like right after I stop recording, I'm sure there'll be some things I can think of that I wanted to say, but right now I'm kind of drawing a blank. Overall, this was a very enjoyable documentary for me, even though, like I said, you know, it was a little bit long. It's a big time commitment to sit down and watch nearly 8 hours of a show. I didn't watch it all in a row though, I watched them on different days. And like I said, there were also parts of the editing that did kind of bug me a bit and confused me as well. But this was still just such a cool series to see this band at work on one of their albums, and it also really made me appreciate the Let It Be Naked album a lot more. I did already prefer that one over the original one we got in 1970, but this documentary just brought a whole new light onto it that I wasn't able to see before. And that's speaking as someone who does like the original 1970 version. I do still get enjoyment out of that album when I listen to it. It's not one of their best albums, probably really one of their weaker albums in my opinion, but it's still an enjoyable album. But yeah, it doesn't even compare, I think, to the Naked version, especially a song like The Long and Winding Road. In the original 1970 album, like just the orchestra and the choir arrangements are just way too over the top and overpowering. I mean, at times you can barely even hear the vocals or the piano or the guitar, just because the orchestra and the choir are just so dominant in that song. Really, that's the sort of a consistent error throughout a lot of that album, is that just the mixing could have been a lot better. And also just that there's too much going on musically. The Naked version is much more stripped back, it's a little bit more easy on the ears, and it's the way that the band intended the album to be. Yeah, I think I got everything I want to say now. I think that's about it. The Beatles Get Back, very enjoyable documentary for me. Sure, it is a time commitment, and sure, I think it might not be that enjoyable for some people who aren't that into the Beatles. And I can't really see myself coming back to visit this that often, but still a very cool experience. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Let me know in the comments if you have seen this show and what you think about it. Also, do you prefer Let It Be or Let It Be Naked? Let me know that as well. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace out.